What's going on, everyone? Austin here, and today we're going to talk about why I think the Singapore Grand Prix was one of the best ones of the season. I mean, it's almost a no-brainer in my mind. So we're going to start with why I think the whole weekend, the qualifying was super interesting, and then even down to the race. So let's get right into it. With qualifying, I found this to be super interesting, and I would say one of the best since Abu Dhabi of 2021. It was just unreal because obviously the circuit has the most gear shifts out of any circuit. I think 93 they said on average. So all these cars were running their highest downforce package, which means it came down more to the turns. And I think when cars don't rely as much on speed, obviously they're relying more on the cornering and that sort of thing, it gives the drivers a chance to shine, and it really gives them a chance to show their skills and their precision around these corners. And I think we saw that especially during qualifying, how between the top five of Leclerc, Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, and Alonso, obviously Verstappen, but for other reasons he wasn't in that. For those top five, in Q3, it was literally like Alonso would set the fastest, then Hamilton would, then Perez, then Leclerc, then Sainz. It was just, then it would repeat fastest. So you were seeing like these top drivers absolutely killing it. Obviously, for Verstappen, he had that fuel issue. But even then, that's what makes it a great Grand Prix, because there's a little drama thrown into the mix. I mean, how could you not love that? The top driver in the top car, through no fault of his own, being forced to start eighth. That's incredible. That's what you want. So this qualifying and this order set the race weekend up to be absolutely perfect. So then we get to the actual race. Not only is it pouring down rain, but it gets delayed an hour, the entire thing. Kind of sucks because I had to wake up early for that. So the fact that it was delayed an hour meant I could have slept in an hour. But what are you going to do? So you set it up. Rainy, street circuit, super hot weather, one of the most grueling. It'll come down to the driver's skills. Verstappen starting back in eighth, and Ferrari looking really, really good. It's tough. Right off the start, Perez gets a massive jump on Leclerc and basically stays in first for the entire time. He had a flawless race, and shout out to him for that. Absolutely killing it. And here's the thing. Ferrari had a flawless race too. There were 2 safety cars, 2 virtual safety cars, and only 14 drivers finished the race. You would think one of them was Ferrari based on the rest of the season, but it wasn't. Ferrari actually killed it. Hopefully that's a sign of more things to come in the future. Fingers crossed. And another thing that was great is you got to see some of the old Hamilton. You know, even though the car might not be the fastest, obviously he was able to drive it in such a way that was incredible. And so you saw him up there the entire race fighting to be on the podium. And then one little mistake happens and he finishes the race ninth. You know, he went into a barrier, damaged the front wing just enough to the point where it's like dragging on the track, had to go into the pits, fix it. It was tricky. Verstappen also, he was charging his way through the field. No one could stop him. And then at one point, pushing a little hard, trying to pass, I think Magnussen, of all people. Magnussen was lapped, though, and goes off. And in that circuit, where they have plenty of runoff areas, if you do go off, it takes a while to get back onto the circuit and back into the swing of things. So he started 8th and only finished 7th, where if he didn't have that, I mean, I think he would have been possibly 4th. Honestly, I don't think he would have caught the Ferraris, but he would have been 4th for sure. Probably get around Norris. And I mean, how could you not love a circuit where Daniel Ricciardo on his home Grand Prix goes from 16th and finishes 5th? Does it get much better than that? I mean, sure, he could get a seat next year, but I don't think he will. I mean, the circuit had it all. Safety cars, so that the racers were bunched up together at different points throughout the race. That's huge. It was wet, really unpredictable, and we saw that. I mean, only 14 cars finished. Other cars either due to damage or engine failures, overheating, which we knew was a huge possibility with the Singapore weather, the hottest Grand Prix on the circuit every year. It had it all. And it was a great day for Ferrari. So, I mean, it literally doesn't get much better than that. If you all have a Grand Prix you thought was better, please drop it in the comments. I'm very curious to know. I had maybe the most fun watching this one from the whole weekend, practices to the amazing qualifying and then to the race. It was a bummer that we weren't able to finish the race and that you were kind of racing the clock instead of racing the laps. So that's a shame. What are you going to do? It got rained and delayed an hour. Plus, we got to see most of the race anyway, so I'm not going to be too upset about that. Again, this really was one of my favorites. Super excited for Tokyo to see what's to come. Hopefully Ferrari can keep the momentum up. Although, Verstappen's going to win this season. There's just no doubt about it, whether you want it to or not. Actually, in Japan, he can put it away if he comes in first and gets the fastest lap. Then he's got it, which we'll get anyway. Red Bull's going to win the championship. There's no hope for Ferrari. Maybe next year. Oh, and before I forget, another phenomenal thing about this race, George Russell did bad. I don't know why I don't like George Russell so much. Maybe because I'm such a Valtteri fan. And, Russell took his spot this year. But can't stand George Russell. Obviously, as a person, I wish him the best and stuff. But as an F1 driver, I'm so happy he finished way down there. I don't even remember. Didn't even pay attention. That's how much I don't care about George Russell when it comes to F1. So, Singapore Grand Prix, by far my favorite so far. Let me guys know what your guys' favorite has been in the comments. And I'll be coming at you with a video real soon. So, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss that. Appreciate it. Catch you next time.